Hi everyone, I'm Paul Gardiner from Gardiner Architects, and this is a multi-res project, 13 apartments, retail down below, car stackers behind, shared rooftop garden. But it's an engineered mass timber building, and there's 5 levels of CLT, cross-laminated timber, from that podium level up. So that's really what we want to focus on, the nature of a timber building and how it affects the architecture and what we do. So I'm old enough to know that architecture is a pretty complex activity, and we're designing for developers, you're designing for users, you're designing for the public realm. There's always a sustainability question, the value for money equation, what a building will be like to live in. And then at some point early on, you have to decide how you're going to build it and what effect that will have. You can go the normal way, the concrete and steel, or GRC way, but sometimes it's good to push the question a bit harder. So all this has brought us to a decision around engineered timber. Oh, sorry.
Stuff in the menu, you think you might have to click. Just move the mouse and click a little bit.
Where am I? Can't see the names.
Just click anywhere. Yeah, and then move with the
Yeah, so how that decision relates to everything about the building. So the first thing is about the development model. So this is not a traditional development model. The client wanted to create something sustainable, robust, well designed for a longer term hold. He lived on the site for many years, and so he recognised the potential and he understands the area. And what's happened is he's sold only a few of the apartments and he's holding the majority for a long term investment. And so we went on this engineered timber journey together. His first question was, will it cost me anything? Of course, we moved on from that. And then multi-res, they are individual homes, and that we didn't want to lose that. And you'll see later that everyone has individual floor plans. And there's the same amenity right through all the apartments, whether they're sold or rented. And obviously a timber building has really good embodied carbon, so you start with trees, CO2, then you put the trees into a building form and it holds that embodied carbon. Next one, community and equitable tenure. So it was important that the idea that you could be renting longer term, and you start to treat it like a house. So it's a different model. So everybody has the same storage and good amenity and shared outdoor space and so forth. But obviously it has high passive and active VSD performance. I won't go on about solar panels and all the rest, but high thermal performance. We've got an average of 8.4 stars right across the apartments. And the other thing relating to how it's built is that most CLT buildings, as long as you haven't got a pandemic happening, will be much quicker to build, and therefore the cost is likely to be down relative to normal forms. And I think it's important that that right-hand drawing is just saying it's actually a safer site. So we have a responsibility, I think, as architects to create safe sites. A little bit further on to that, there's obviously a lot of the embodied energy in timber construction is obviously a lot less than concrete, traditional concrete. They're also really airtight, which improves the thermoacoustic performance, but they're really comfortable to live in. And these buildings will last longer, so their actual longevity is better. So anyway, we're obviously advocates for engineered timber buildings, it's a different way to build. It has a whole pile of complexities, but there's some really strong advantages, and I think it really suits this building type around this scale. Thornbury is a pretty gritty area, so we looked at it and really wanted a building that was actually brick. There's lots of brick buildings, and it's also a building in the round, so you see the north and the south sides. You know, there's no big concrete, blank wall on one side, so we've got a glass stairwell there, you can see. And the articulation, we're talking about arguing with councils before, articulation is by just recessing balconies, so sculpting the balconies in rather than adding something outside. What's that time?
You got 2 minutes.
Oh, sorry. Right, so obviously mass timber is a prefabricated building, so you start in the factory on the left, you have digital models, you start lifting panels, hopefully in the right order, and then eventually the guy says, whoa, that was lucky that fitted. And just about the design, there's retail on the left there and car stackers and so forth, but then all these apartments respond to their aspect, so they're not, none of them are the same, they're just working within the parameters of a CLT building. You can see the quality of entrances and the stairwells. We've wrapped the stair around a CLT lift core to not have fire isolated stairs, and there's lots of light there, and it's not dark and doesn't feel like a hotel. And on the right, all the apartments have really big outdoor spaces, decks. That window on the left there is recessed back to the north, so that gives you a passive solar sun shading, and then there's lots of storage underneath. The shared rooftop gardens, all the balconies are generous, don't have air conditioners on them. And just got a 1 minute little video for you, just to show you how it comes together. So you can see the production, and but what I'd just like to talk as you're watching this is just about prefabrication as a way of building that it doesn't restrict your design potential at all. And we spend a long time trying to get those panels, as lift core, clad in the brick rain screen at the same time. And so in summary, I'd say the industry is developing really, really fast with mass timber. The regulatory regime is totally lagging, and the industry couldn't quite handle putting bricks on a panel and then trying to put them up in the air at the same time. But yes, overall this is a successful building. Prefabrication's a way of building it, doesn't have to restrict your design potential. And the last point would really be that we end up as architects in a different procurement system, and I think we need to be quite flexible about that. There's early contractor involvement and all those sorts of questions come into to making a building work well. That's it.
Right.